I've been using these Apple AirPod 3s since the very first day they were released to the public. And as a former recording studio engineer, and as someone who's never been really sold on full wireless earbuds, I've discovered some things that you're probably gonna wanna know about if you're considering buying these. So welcome to the Apple AirPod 3 long-term review by Run the Joules. Before we dig into the surprisingly bad parts of my AirPods 3 experience, let's quickly cover what I really liked about them during my day-to-day usage. Okay, first up, the thing that you're gonna be handling a lot, which is the case. And if you have had AirPods before, you'll be very familiar with this style of case. This one is really tiny, it's been super durable. I haven't really cared about the health and safety of this case very much, and I don't see one single scratch on it. I just throw it in my pocket with my keys, it doesn't even matter, and it looks brand new still. So I'm very happy with the build quality of the case. And it's got a really satisfying click to it too. Next part that I've been very impressed with, and actually I feel like I'm gonna say the same line from when I was talking about the battery for the 13 Pro, I never have to consciously think about when I'm charging these AirPods. You just don't really have to think about battery life. I put them in, I listen, I'll put them back in the case. Every now and again I'll think to myself, oh, maybe I should throw them on the charger. And that's it. I have never once ran out of batteries after months of usage in all kinds of conditions, in cold weather and hot weather, it doesn't even matter. Now the next thing is Fitment, and I kind of won the lottery on this one. I know it's not gonna be the same for everybody out there, but the Fitment for me with these, it really could not be more perfect. And so for me, when I put them in my ears, there's not one single pressure point anywhere. And so I have them in, and I have constantly forgotten that I'm actually wearing these. And so I'll be on my computer, and I'll be done work, and I'll head upstairs. I work at home, just like most of you now. And I just totally forgot. I was sitting down at the supper table, and I'm like, wait a minute. All that to say, they fit me really nicely. And the interesting thing is, like, I kind of have bigger ears, it's just how it is, but these also actually fit my wife Beth's ears really nicely, and her ears are like half the size of mine. So I don't understand how that works, but it just does. Comparing these to, say, the AirPod Pros that have that extra sort of like gel tip, those types of earbuds don't work well for me because my ears are the same size, but my ear canals are different sizes. And so I always have to like mess around with different tips for that style. And so this is definitely the style of earbud for me. It just happened to work out that way. Hopefully it does for you too. All right, the next thing I'm gonna cover is auto device switching. Now, if you are deep within that Apple ecosystem like I am, you're gonna really appreciate this. So if I go and pick up my iPhone, it says AirPods connected, just like that, automatically. If I were to put this down and say if I was in the studio or in the office, I'll just go and start typing on the laptop, it automatically switches over to that. It works so well the vast majority of the time. Sometimes almost even too well. Like, I swear I just put my phone down sometimes and I look at my laptop and it's like AirPods connected. So there is actually one situation where it is flat out terrible with the whole auto switching thing, but we'll talk about that in a second. All right, so now the reason why probably a lot of you are watching this, I know it'd be the reason why I'd be watching a review of these AirPods, and that's for audio quality. So as you know, I haven't owned previous generations of the AirPods, but I have had plenty of the EarPods, like the wired ones, including the very last generation before they came out with AirPods. And I also have some nice high quality AKG K240 Studio over-ear headphones. And the results were really interesting. So what I found when comparing the different AirPods and EarPods and headphones together is that when it comes to wireless audio transmission, and at least for these with the type of compression that they have to use, I just find that you lose a lot of high end. There's almost like a pretty low cap for how high of frequencies that you can hear with these. And this loss in sort of high frequencies, even like the really super cheap EarPods that are wired, even those had better high end sound reproduction than these. And until Apple comes out with some sort of lossless way of getting that audio wirelessly into these buds, that's just something you're gonna have to deal with. So what I could tell immediately was that Apple paid a lot of attention to the mid and low mid frequencies for these. That whole middle section sounds quite nice. And that makes a lot of sense because that's the frequency range where our voices live. One of the things that I wasn't super happy with was the stereo imaging of these. And there's a lot of talk about spatial audio, and that's kind of using phasing tricks to, have sounds coming from all over the place. But when you actually just put it in regular stereo mode and listening to regular music, I found that the whole soundstage was pretty two-dimensional, whereas I would put on my AKGs and all of a sudden the singer is here, the reverb is over there, it's incredible, and there's no spatial audio trickery there, it's just good quality audio drivers. Okay, so we've covered the good, we've covered the medium slash meh. Now we're gonna go over the bad parts of these AirPods. Phew, it's getting cold now. One of the things that I've noticed that has been super, super annoying with these AirPods is that when I do longer phone calls, I definitely want to use them. It's so much more convenient. It's got great microphones, which I guess should have been in the pro side of the video. But the problem is that when I'm actually having like a phone call, not a FaceTime call, not a Zoom call, not a Google Meets, but an actual normal like phone call, it cuts out fairly often. And during one phone call, it cut out 4 or 5 times and I just had to pull them out and stop using them. And that has been through all firmware updates. I'm not sure how many other people are having that issue, but I was having that issue. Super annoying. It doesn't do it all the time, but often enough that I really feel like I need to mention it here. Another big con for me, as somebody who's pretty deep into that Apple ecosystem, is when you have multiple devices logged in under iCloud, which means these things are going to auto-detect whatever device you're on. It can't differentiate what device it's necessarily closest to, it seems. And the reason why I say that is because when I've, say, been on my laptop with these in on a phone call or a Zoom call or whatever, and I've let my son go and take my iPad and watch a YouTube video or something, the AirPods get really, really confused as to what's going on and where it should be connected. So if you are like me and you do have multiple devices signed in at any one time and you share your devices with people, that's just something to keep in mind. So, actually, there is one thing that I did want to talk about. As somebody who, as I keep saying, is well in that ecosystem, that Apple ecosystem, if you have an Apple Watch, the combination between the AirPods and the Apple Watch has been really, really nice. I bought this specifically so that I could start leaving my phone at home. It's the LTE version, and the one thing that I found was a little bit tough was, answering the phone like a total dork in the supermarket with your watch. But if you pair it with these, I feel like it's the most perfect leave your phone at home situation. Whenever you get notifications, you can have it so that Siri gently whispers them into your ears and you could reply just through the microphones. It's just really solid. Anyways, I totally forgot to cover that earlier. Now you know, it's a great combo. All right, so here are my final thoughts on the Apple AirPod 3s after a number of months of daily usage. If you are someone who is, say, commuting on the bus every single day and just really using it to listen to music and not much else, I would look into a higher quality wired set of earbuds. It's just gonna provide much better sound quality overall. And if you're a person who doesn't really need that wireless aspect to it, I would take sound quality over wireless convenience any day of the week if I didn't really need it. But they do offer a lot in a person's daily life if they're using them for its strengths. I know lately that you can get AirPod Pros for roughly the same price as these AirPod 3s. And if you go that route, you get some active noise cancellation, although I have heard a lot of people having issues with it. But in general, for my daily use case, I find that these have offered enough value that I do plan on keeping them, and I'm pretty happy with their performance. So let me know down in the comments what you think about all of this, whether you've had experience with them or what you're looking for in the perfect set of wireless earbuds. And we'll see you on the next one, everybody. Cheers.